Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining. So I remember a couple of videos ago I had mentioned that I was going to talk a little more about propaganda and the minister of propaganda, which happens to be Edward Bernays, and how he was able to manipulate people's minds to make them think a certain way and to do certain things for money and to profit corporations and businesses. There were actually lots of corporations and businesses that would come to him and would ask him certain things to cause people to buy their products, to make them think that something was beneficial for them. What we call propaganda, also known as what Edward Bernays would say would be like public relations. So fast forward, let's talk about something specific. So tobacco companies back in the early 20s, there were a bunch of tobacco companies that came to Edward Bernays and asking him, how can we increase our profits and get women to smoking? So just to kind of give you a little heads up and a background, back then, smoking for women was considered taboo, and it just wasn't popular. It was mostly a manly thing, considered for manliness. Even little boys were smoking because it was like make them feel like they were manly. That was considered manhood. So it was very taboo for women to start smoking. And another thing to consider, back then, tobacco, getting rolling, people smoking, the verdict wasn't out that cigarettes cause cancer. It just wasn't known at the time, or it just wasn't discovered or even said at the time. So the verdict wasn't out that if you smoke cigarettes, you can get cancer. So let's lay that aside. So these tobacco companies came to Edward and said, hey, we're wanting to get increased profits. We're wanting to get women to smoking. So during that time, think of like the suffragette movement, women's rights. Women were like really into feminism, and women who wanted to smoke, they looked at smoking or not being able to smoke as men suppressing them or not wanting them to be free. So Edward Bernays, he spent some money to talk to some people to kind of get the psychology of everything, to see, okay, how can we get women to smoking? So what he did was he talked with this psychologist type person and paid him money, and they came up with a scheme together. Okay, so we're gonna sell this to women as freedom torches, way of freedom, okay? So you're gonna use your feminism, you're gonna get away from this, men can't tell you what to do, things of that sort. You're gonna be free. And they sold it to them also that cigarettes made you look stylish. Smoking cigarettes makes you look stylish and feminine and just so fashionable. So, and women like looking nice, they like looking fashionable, they like looking feminine, they like looking beautiful. So that really sold to women. So that was one way of him selling it to them. So he's like, how can we make a grand entrance of women just shocking the country, shocking people with the cigarettes, lighting what we call freedom torches. That's how he sold it to women. He's like, well, 4th of July is coming up, but we can't do it then because, everybody's celebrating American freedom and things of that sort. So let's wait a little while, and we will announce it during Easter. So after all the manipulation and getting all of this together, he's like, okay, we're going to have these women march in, and they're going to light their freedom torches in front of everyone and show that they are now free to do whatever, free to do what they want to do. And these freedom torches, they're going to just light them up and shock everybody. So during that time they did, and that Sunday, all these women walked around and walked in, and they were lighting their freedom torches known as cigarettes. And here we go today. And then the cigarette companies, their profits went way up. So that is just one story and one way how one man, the minister of propaganda, was able to manipulate people and to sell them lies, and corporations was able to work with someone to make people think a certain way, all for money. So the reason I'm telling you this is because there's a correlation between today with what's going on now. Big corporations talking to government officials, causing them to manipulate people, feed people propaganda to get people to think a certain way. And that happens in our media, lots of propaganda being fed to people, lying to people to get people to think a certain way about maybe the current situation that we have now, or to think a certain way about a certain person. Just so much manipulation and propaganda being fed on the TV. That's the reason why I don't look at the media or have a TV or anything of that sort. I like to do my own research and look for myself. But that is just one story. There's so many things that Edward Bernays did to manipulate people's minds and feed them propaganda to get them to think a certain way. But that was just one story, one part of history that actually was true. Tobacco companies, for the sake of making more money, went to Edward Bernays, and he came up with this scheme, like I said, to manipulate people, to manipulate women, to get them to smoking, which ultimately now we know causes cancer. And lots of people are backing away from smoking now. But think about it, everybody was smoking. People were smoking in restaurants, women were smoking. And he got them to thinking, oh, you're free. You're freedom torches. You can now smoke. You're away from the patriarchy. So great information. I'll be able to share, I want to share a little more about Edward Bernays and how he manipulated the masses through propaganda, also known as public relations. But I just wanted to share that little bit about you and to kind of draw a correlation about what we're facing today. So hopefully that was helpful. Great little historical information. Stay tuned for more. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all the things. I'll be back with more videos. And thanks for joining. Have a great day.